4, 3, 2, 1, 5.
Good morning! Welcome to Natasha Makes. It is Workshop Wednesday, or as we like to call it, Stitchy Witchy Wednesday. I don't know why we don't just change it, Jane.
I know. Might offend some people, I suppose.
Well, it offended Facebook.
Facebook might not like it.
It didn't like it. It was unhappy with such a situation. Right, let's see who is with us this morning, because we know there always is. So volume down, let's see who is here with us this morning. Right. We'll get everyone time to join in, because there's always a delay, isn't there? Yeah. Today, Jane, today is Plains subscription day. Yes, and it is the greens.
And they are gorgeous.
So if you subscribe to the Natasha Makes Plain subscription, there's two things to know. Firstly, your parcel will be on its way imminently.
Yes.
As soon as we receive your payment, which is all set up on the system. Secondly, if you don't subscribe, but you've wanted to, you've seen now, we've done 2 months worth, haven't we? We've had beautiful neutrals. What was the other one? Did we do? Blues. We did blues, didn't we, to start off with?
Blues and browns we've done so far.
And by the end of it, you can buy them just if there's a month that you like. You can just buy them, but you don't get the discount, the free postage and all that kind of stuff that happens. Yeah, and all the labels. So for those of you that get our half meter heavens and things like that regularly and want to be able to get that colour matched yourself at home, this is partly why we've done it, so that you get the label, you can snip off a corner and stick it somewhere and create your own swatch, basically, your own colour swatch. So that's another reason that we've done it. And so these will come to you beautifully labelled, and then you know how you then want to do it is up to you. This quilt here is made purely with the subscriptions and then just a plain to go with it. So it's super, well, I was going to say super effective, isn't it? It's just gorgeous. Just gorgeous, Jane. You've done it again. Absolutely done it again. From
the book, Barbara Cline's book, and she's got a lovely book here with all the patterns in.
Well, we're going to have a look.
Yeah, it's a really nice book.
All I hear Jane saying is, I want to make everything in here.
Yes,
I want to make everything in here. Well, we've got Sue with us, and Liz and Jane, good morning, and Karen, hello, and Jenny, good morning, and Maria and your mum, good morning, and hey, Jackie and Claire. She says it's an amazing quilt. I love a quilt in plains. It pops more. It's always that option, isn't it? Morgan Margaret. Morning, Margaret.
Swedish. Good morning.
Yeah, I know. Morning, Pam. We've got Kate and Rona. Good morning. And Kathleen and Sylv. And Anne as well. And Rebecca. Good morning. And Ginny and Cheryl and Alison. Morning. Very dramatic quilt, she says. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, that circular quilting on the angular design looks fab. It hasn't gone unnoticed, Jane.
No, it's not. I mean, I copied the quilt in the book. The lady that did the quilt, she'd done circular design. But I do like a circle on an angle. It really softens the quilt, I think. And really shows off the design.
Absolutely beautiful. So if you want to now join the subscription, today is the only day in the month that you can do so. And you just have to go into is it just up on the page today on the website, Jem? At the top, www.natashamakes.com. If you click on
there's the long quarter option,
yeah. So you get to choose whether you want it in long quarters or fat quarters, and that's how they'll come to you every month. Or you can just buy it this month if you just love the greens. I've got no words today. Well, I've got all the words, just not in the right order. Valerie's been dogs walked, fed, and sleeping. Husband doing trumpet practice. That doesn't sound very restful. And me reclining with a cuppa, ready for sewing, inspiration, and fun.
Lovely.
Fun. That's what we want.
Anyone who subscribes new today.
Yes, anyone who subscribes new today, yes. And they want the previous bundles.
If they buy the previous bundles and put a note on their order.
Buy the previous bundles, put a note on their order.
Say, I'm a new subscriber, please label my...
I'm a new subscriber, please label my fabrics. We will do so, says Gemma. Yeah. There you go. You can't ask for more than that, can you? Alrighty. So. Have I been on the gin? No, I haven't. I've had very little sleep. If I'm honest,
Captain Small's not sleeping too well, is she, at the moment? And
no. There's a lot going on, and Captain Small is not entirely you know, loving it.
Bless her.
How can someone small take up so much room?
I don't know, but they do, don't they?
And get you just at the point where you just had enough sleep that your body went, oh, we're awake now.
Yeah, let's wake up.
Oh, 1 o'clock in the morning. We're awake now, let's go. Yeah. No. Various fabrics around the place. You can see we've pulled a whole load. Well, you will when Jane. There we go. When Jane's
I'm in the
sewing
way.
stuff.
There we go.
We have got we've got Caifs. We've got Jane Sassaman, new Caifs, last season Caif. All of the caladiums and those sorts all absolutely go. The new Charlotte fabric. The this one is the Shadow Flower. We've got the Row embroidered flower as well. They all just anything basically with green in with the Caif works with this bundle.
Yeah.
And then over here we have got some of the jungle fabrics which are absolutely gorgeous. And again, they're going to mix through beautifully. And actually, this I think this one's in clearance because we didn't have very much left of it with the echinacea. And the echinacea. Actually, this one, if I show you this, has got all the greens in. And also, Jane. The frog fabric that we launched last week.
Yeah, I love that. It's cute.
So if I just show you these, I found these out slightly. These are the greens that you are getting today. But look how amazing they look. A bit of black fluff through there. And through there. You can really see, can't you?
Yeah, they really pop the greens.
So they are all up for you. And then let's have a look. So I had notification from Heathrow yesterday that half of our Lisa Chandler was here. The stuff coming from Australia has beaten the stuff from Japan.
Amazing.
Which is crazy, isn't it? So that has landed, which means that very, very soon we'll be able to do the rest of the final bit of the block of the month.
Yes.
So I'm really sorry that there's been a delay.
There's lots of people waiting. They're like, where is it?
I know. No, you haven't missed it. What we will do, what also came through today were the final instructions for the block of the month as well. So for those of you that bought the whole kit to start off with, I know we've had a few emails from people going,
yes.
Well, why have I got to wait? I've got the fabric.
Yeah.
And you're right. We just hadn't really thought of that, if I'm honest. Because most people buy as you go. So apologies for that. That will be up today for you to either download or buy in paper form. That will be sorted. That's been sent across this morning. Lisa very, very kindly sent that over. So, what we've done half metre heaven-wise this week, bearing in mind these go live at midnight tonight, is go through the end bits of the bolts. So in our warehouse, we have a complete Lisa Chandler bolt section and then the bolts we're working on.
Yeah.
And what I noticed in the bolts we're working on is that we had a whole load that just had 1 or 2 half meters on. That were the last ones.
Yeah.
Some of them we can't get again because they're not in print anymore.
Yes.
So, and then a few other bits and bobs that we found lying around. Doesn't sound very professional.
Doesn't lie around in the warehouse.
It's
all very neatly folded on the bolt.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Now, Jane, this one came in. This was Studio E, and this was the navy paisley. Out of that whole collection, we've got 3 half meters left.
It was a very popular collection.
It really
went
was.
Really well.
And we've put that with your copen. So
Beautiful.
Well done for those of you that got that. I've got 1 of this, and this is the floral blue green. I'm trying to get Lisa.
Fabric that is.
Yeah. I don't know if I've got any more of this coming. I don't know if she had any more. And again, that's gone with copen as well. This is your floral red and ivory. Now, we did a huge quilt, Emma's Garden, didn't we, quilt with this?
Yeah.
And we also did a butterfly version as well. We've got 6 of these with the crimson, which goes quite beautifully there. And then with Sage, we've got 3 of the purple fans. Fan of the fans, look at these.
It's not just the fans, there's lovely dragonflies fluttering through there, and the detail is lovely. And that just pulls out that green beautifully, doesn't it?
All through there. There's so many different greens in this. It's just stunning.
Yeah. your subscription and you get that ½ metre heaven. It's very nice.
Beautiful, right? Now vanilla with this blossom, and I've got 2 of these, but it needed to go with the vanilla. That's just the right tone for it, isn't it?
Does.
Just that creamy,
almost
yellowy.
Almost yellow in there.
Yeah. Now 2 of the Chinese. Actually, I might have a few more of these.
Look at that. The rich colours in that are beautiful. Oh, and that shows it off gorgeous.
Beach bag done.
Yeah. Super.
Suddenly, a beach bag's not a beach bag, is it?
No.
It's very, very smart then. So there's that. Oh, this is also from the Studio E. This is your paisley butterflies. They look like a tile, don't they?
Yes. That's lovely. You got those 2 ½ metre heavens, and that's a quilt sorted.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, because you've got the 2 different blues, haven't you?
Yeah, subtle difference, but just right.
Yeah, lovely. We've got 5 more of these.
Nice.
These flew. This is your begonia leaves.
It's
And we
really
sold out of
pretty.
those last week. So I managed to get some more for you. And there they are. Just for something cool and something a little bit different.
Yeah, the gum leaves are beautiful.
The gum leaves are really beautiful. So we've got a few of those. We've got 5 of the cherry blossom in green.
Nice. It's lovely.
And we have got 3 of it in purple.
I do like that purple colourway. It's really rich.
It's gorgeous,
lovely.
isn't it? And goes so very beautifully with the fans.
Yeah. And with that green.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's nice.
Yeah. Da, 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 da.
Nice quilt there.
So, yeah.
All the ideas.
All the ideas. So they will be what will go live at midnight tonight. So like I say, some of these we won't be able to get in again. Some might be reprinted, but that means it's going to be months and months and months until we see them. So there we go. Jane, what have you got book-wise? Why don't you show us your book?
I've got this beautiful Diamond Star Quilts book by
Perfect.
Barbara H. Cline. And she's made some absolutely stunning Diamond Star quilts.
Hooray!
Look at this. That's the introduction quilt, that one. And she uses very straightforward techniques to do it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few that might be foundation pieced, but she uses very clever cutting technique where she uses a template and just slides it slightly to make a different shape. I'm just trying to find the pattern with it on. That's the one I did. Look at that, that's the sampler project. There's different stars in there so that you've got sort of like a build up of your techniques. This one here. And she just, mostly done with strips, so strips of fabric, and then she'll just put the diamond on and just turn it just slightly so it's not, the seam doesn't run down the centre of the diamond, and that gives you a really interesting effect. And it's very similar techniques to the ribbon star quilt that we did, and then we made the smaller cushion.
Oh,
Very similar techniques. Look at that Echo Star. That's the sort of, and I mean these are jelly roll friendly as well as fat quarter friendly. I'm going to show you this quilt is the Echo Star with pinwheel. She just uses 2 colours, as you can see, in her quilt.
Gorgeous.
And because we were doing the subscription with the greens, I thought I could utilise the fabrics to make
And there they are. I mean, look at
something
them up
similar.
there.
And I used 4 colours. I used 4 of the fat quarters for the one that
So
I
you're
made.
Getting 8.
Yeah, so I'm going to demonstrate with the other 4 today
Oh,
to show
nice.
you how it, I'm going to show you the key points. I'm going to show you how I cut it from fat quarters, because in the book it's yardage. And there's a light green. It's an American book, so it says 1 yard. Well, we would give you 1 metre. Dark green, 1 yard. And the grey is 2 7/8 of a yard, which is just, if you said 3 metres, you'd have more than enough, because you need ½ a yard for your binding. Well, I bound it in the same fabric as I'd used for the background.
Okay.
So if you go with 3 metres, you have your background and your binding.
Oh, perfect. So, and what?
But if you wanted a different colour binding, then you just want ½ a yard, ½ a
I'd
metre.
go with natural seeded cotton.
Yeah,
I think that would look gorgeous.
it would
with
look
that.
lovely. It really sets it off. I've used the plain white because I've gone with the what I think are the brighter tones within the bundle. I think I used those for the one behind me, which are the softer, more earthy green tones. And then I'm going to demonstrate with these ones, which are...
Because you really can ombre them, can't you?
There's some, I mean, they're beautiful greens. They really are lovely textures. I think we've got another green bundle coming further down the line that's really bright with the limes and the apple and the really zesty.
The zesty ones. We've got, well, I mean, so to give you an idea, we stock nearly 100 different planes, don't we?
Yeah.
So you will, by the end of the year...
Well, you'll have one of each, won't you, of all of them? I think there's one that we duplicate just because of bundles of 8. So one of them you'll have twice. I think it's a terracotta, but you will get one of each colour.
Yeah.
And so, like we said, if you subscribe, you get the label, so you know exactly what the colour is. So if you want to order more of it, you know you're going to get the same. And they're very good, actually, these planes, at keeping the tones the same, even with a new dye batch.
They are, actually, aren't they?
Which is
another reason that we use them.
We don't get much difference within the dye batches. So that's really nice to know as well, that they keep those similar. So this is the one I did, and then look at that one. That's just stunning.
Do you know, oh, hang on.
And it's just...
oh, wow.
Different widths of strips create that diamond. And it's diamonds and triangles that create the stars. They're very clear instructions, easy to see visually as well as clear written ones. I love these with the split diamond shapes. And this is the diamond shape where she's made the strip and then she just twists the diamond slightly, the template. And this is the spiky desert rose. That's a really lovely Christmassy idea. And that one, look at that, rotating stars. That's really sort of modern and simple looking, but it's quite complex construction-wise. Not complex construction because it's easy to make, but it looks more complicated than it is. And lovely colours.
Karen says, she says, I'm not a green girl and rarely buy green fabric, which is why I subscribe. This is a great way to expand my ever expanding fabric stash. But it's one of those things, isn't it? You know, that if it takes you out your comfort zone, and actually you might find, Karen, that the pinks and things that you do have in your stash look absolutely beautiful with these greens.
I love pink and green together.
Yeah.
I do think it's a nice colourway. We've got the Christmas cactus there. Look, that's another stunning one. And this is the blue cactus, so it's similar. It's just that diamond that she's done that where she's just twisted it slightly, so it's not, the seam doesn't go down the centre, it just offset. That one's a beautiful one. It's called Let's Go Hunting, but we'll forgive it. And as I say, lovely clear instructions. And also what I liked about this book is you get a quite a clear picture of the quilting that she's done on it to give you inspiration for the quilting. I mean, her quilting is very intricate, but it gives you inspiration, and I took inspiration for the one that I did from the book. But I thought it's lovely because quite often patterns will say, oh, quilter's desired, and you're like, well, I'm new to quilting, how do I quilt it? And there's the wedding star there. That's a really nice one.
So this book is on the website as well, natashamakes.com. It's all there for you.
A little bit there about the basting, quilting, the binding, and she gives you quite a detailed idea for the binding on the back of there. And there's the templates for the split diamonds that she calls them. She's got pictures there of her children helping her. She's like,
are they as much help as mine were last night?
I think it's lovely. So you've got the templates there, they're full-size templates with the seam allowances on. There's the picture of the author there. And she's done several other books as well, all based on stars. So it's a really lovely collection of patterns and instructions there and lots of ideas. And it says the skill building project. So it starts off quite straightforward and it gradually gets slightly more complicated, but the basis of the star is working on creating a diamond and then expanding it on.
Beautiful. And
it's all done with strips. So it's jelly roll friendly or yardage friendly. It's a really nice book, and I found it was a really good book to use. You know, sometimes you get a book and you'll find 1 or 2 patterns in it, but as I said to you earlier, and I want to make everything in here. There's really lovely inspiration in there, different styles and things. So yeah, I'm going to show you how I constructed it from fat quarters, because as I said, it says yardage in the book. I'm going to pinch one of these fat quarters to do my demonstration with, because I was going to cut one and then I ran out of time. So I'm pinching that one and I'll replace it.
Sorry, I interrupted. Is it more straightforward if you have a long quarter?
You can't actually get it from a long quarter, because I thought, oh well, I'll just take long quarters, but actually one of the squares, the first square that you cut, is 10 3/4. So you wouldn't get it from a long quarter.
Oh,
so actually,
3/4 of an inch.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when I came to read the instructions, I was like, oh, am I going to get it from a fat quarter? But actually, with clever cutting, and because I use more than just 2 colours, I got 2. It's made into 8ths, so I got 2 8ths from each fat quarter.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, am I going to have enough fabric? And the first fat quarter I cut, I did miscut it. I cut it the wrong way round and cut too many, and then didn't have enough. So but
that's why we do the shows.
Yeah,
so
I was able to show
you that
you can,
and other people don't need to make them. That's what we pride ourselves in, Jane.
And what you can do is you can layer up your fat quarters and cut them all together at the same time. If you've got a big enough space on your board, you're going to need there's the large triangles that go in the background. The square you start with is a 25-inch square, which you then have to cut into 4 triangles, which isn't the easiest thing to do when you're limited in space and you haven't got a particularly big cutting mat. But what I found is that you can do, and it's quite a clever way of doing it. If you can, I mean, 25-inch square is much bigger than this, and this isn't square. But if you fold your square into the quarters, so you've got your crease in there, you can then see your creases, which helps with your cutting. And also what you can do, if you're limited on space, is you can leave it folded in half, and if you've got your crease, you can then cut it along your crease. And that helps, you know, when you haven't got, because we're lucky here, we've got the space and we've got the big boards, big cutting mats, so we can really, you know, it doesn't matter, 25 and 3/4 inches, 25 and 1/4 it is actually, is not a problem on our big mats. But if you've got a limited space and you haven't got a big mat, if you fold your square in half to make the 4 triangles and crease it, so you've got the crease to follow, you can cut it in half that way. And then when you open that out, you've got 1 triangle and you'll still have the crease down the middle. So then you can open that up and cut it down the crease there. And that'll give you your triangles, and it makes it a little bit easier to to cut for the big squares, for the big, and it's the background, it's these triangles here. And you only need 4 of them, so it's just 1 square. So this is the fat quarter. And first thing I did was I levelled it up. So when I'm levelling my fabric, I take hold of the selvage and I just line it up with the cut edge and just dangle it, so I make sure that it's hanging straight where the fold is. There's no twisting in it, which sometimes means that the cut edge at the side is a little bit wobbly.
Right. So
I always cut the straight, do that, and then I'll cut down the one side to get a straight edge to work from.
Right. Okay.
By lining the fold up with the horizontal line on my mat, and then just bringing it over one of the vertical lines that I'm then going to cut against. And it really is just trimming off the edge just to make a straight edge, so that you've got it. And it should be straight as grain. Now the thing is, you're going to be working with a lot of biased edges, so best press and flatter and all of that, starch, are really what you need. You really need to be quite heavy-handed with it for these, because obviously all the biased edges they will move even with the best press and all of that. So you're going to need, in the book she starts off with cutting the smallest strips first and then going down to the big ones. So I started with the biggest strip first, and if you do the way I did, it's 2 of the light fat quarters and 2 of the dark. So I did each one, I split, so in here it's enough for 4. So I divided each one by 2 so that I knew that I would get that for each fat quarter. And the first square is 10 and 3/4. So I just measure 10 squares across and then put my 3/4 line of my ruler across there, and I can cut that into a strip then. Move that out of the way for now, and again I'll just take trim the selvage off on the left hand side. If you're left-handed, you'll do this the opposite way to me. Just take that off and make a square. So from each fat quarter I only need one square. And so you need to cut that in half across the diagonal, 45 degrees, to create 2 triangles. And what I'll do is I'll line that up, my ruler at point to point, but I also line up the 45-degree line along the side, just so that I know that I am square, or in the right angle anyway. So you've got 2 triangles there. So that's the one set. And then you need a 7 3/4 square. So from the offcut from that 10, I'm now going to make that into the 7 3/4. So again, the 7 of the inch squares, and then lining my 3/4 mark up against that 7 line. If you've got one of the square rulers, it makes life easier, obviously, because you can cut it in one, cut once one way and once the other way.
And do you use these things that you're cutting to one side?
Yes.
Okay.
And then you're going to cut that into 2 triangles as well. So that's one. I've got enough there to make 2 of my dark diamonds. You've got a piece here, and you can cut that, because you're going to need 2 1/4 inch strips. So I cut that piece that's left over there, I cut that into a 2 1/4 inch strip. So these pieces here are offcuts that I'm not going to need. So I've got that piece from that 10 3/4, that's a 2 1/4 inch strip.
Mm-hmm.
I then need to have a 5 3/4. So I'm going to cut that strip next from the width of the fat quarter. So that's that strip. And then I'm going to cut one 2 1/4 strip again. And that's the offcuts. Now from these now you will get your diamond cut. You're going to have to cut you'll cut your other fat quarter the same. Well, you've got 4 fat quarters, and you'll cut from each fat quarter, you'll cut the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that will give you 2/8 of your diamond, your star shape.
Okay.
And I found that to be the most economic way of cutting the fabric. You then make them into strip sets. So you'll cut your fat quarters or your yardage. If you decide that you want to just go and have 2 colours, like the one in the book, you can do that.
And they could be pattern fabric. They
Yeah,
could be,
you could have
2
really
different
good
capes
fun
or
with
whatever it is that you want to
whatever
do.
fabric. So you would need 1 metre of each colour, of the 2 colours, 1 metre of each, and 3 metres of your background, and the book obviously for the pattern. You make them then into strip sets, and the instructions here are again really clear visually as to each strip set. And as I say, you're going to need to cut 45-degree angles from each one when you've made your strip sets. So you can see from the I got a full width of fat quarter strip there. I cut that in half, along there. I didn't line it up edge to selvage. I took the cut edge to the bottom of the selvage and then I cut it in half, so I've got equal amounts of usable fabric. And you can see there that I've used those for that strip set. So you've got 3 strip sets in effect. I'm just going to turn that round because the light fabric goes at the bottom each time. And that one. So from these strip sets, I'm going to be able to cut enough for 2. So where she says on here you need to cut 4, you just cut 2 from each one, because this is your fat quarter method. You'll have a really long one, full width of the 5 3/4 with your strip, white strip, and then you'll have a piece of your background that you've just cut straight into 2 1/4 inch width strips, and you've got your 2 triangles and your backgrounds. From your backgrounds, now this is where you need to decide how you want your fabrics to go. So I suggest that you make all your diamonds first, which I'm going to show you how to do in a moment, and then decide how you want those to fall before you decide whether you're going to have, because it has a 1/8 has a triangle against it, and 1/8 has a strip cut with a 45-degree angle against it.
Okay.
So I would make all of your diamonds up to this point here, lay them out, decide how you want them, because what you might want to do is you might want to make them from all of the fat quarters. You might want to have every single green in there and have 1/8 of each one, because you could do that. That would look rather nice. In which case you'd only need to cut 1 piece from each one. So you'll have your big quarter triangle from your 25 1/4 square, and then you'll have some rectangular pieces that you need to cut. I think it says it on here, and it shows you in the cut instructions there that you're going to cut your 45-degree angle from. So I'm just going to show you how to do that first, how I use the ruler to line it up with the 45-degree. Because you'll have cut your rectangle strip to the size, and then you need to cut the 45-degree angle from the top of that. So it's just making sure that you've got your 45-degree line, which is here on your ruler, lined up with the bottom edge of your fabric, and then you just slide it across until the top of your ruler is in the corner, and you're just taking off that bottom triangle. So you've got your strip there that you then need, and that goes into the corner of the side of the, because what you do is you start with triangle strips, you make diamond shapes, then you add triangles on to make them again into half square triangles, which you then add together to make squares.
Of course you do.
It's a real,
of course you do.
It's really
I'm
clever
just going to nod and say yes, Jane. Yes.
So when I'm doing the strip sets, again, you're going to cut them with a 45-degree angle, and then start as close up to the edge as you can. And you offset, I don't know if you can see on here, I've offset it by about 2 inches.
Does it tell you?
Yeah, it does tell you to do that.
Julia says, my brain hurts. It's all in the book.
It's all in the book.
It's all in the book.
And I've probably made it sound more complicated than it does.
No, I think
I'm good
it's
at that.
one of those things that when you come to actually make it, this will make sense.
Yes. And I'm just trying to give you the hints and tips so that when you come to do it, you'll think, oh yeah, I remember Jane saying that.
Yeah. Or cut it along with Jane. And Elizabeth says, there you go, simple as that. Jane, you're so very clever.
And 45-degree line there, I've lined that up with my seam line, because I don't know if you can see, but where my line's here, where the cutting is, it's a bit wobbly. So my seam line's nice and straight. So I always line up the 45-degree line with the seam line, because that's my straightest line, I feel. And you're just going to cut that there like that to get your first cut line. And then you're going to cut your strip sets. They're 2 1/4. So again, you can take your ruler, and you might find on this one that you can't actually do it because the ruler doesn't go all the way up to the top. So you might want to take your 45-degree line just to the top of the strip set. So you line your measurement up with the cut line that you've just done. Your 45-degree line is along the top there, so that you know that you're still nice and straight. And as I said, with the fat quarter one, you just need, if you're going to use 4 fat quarters, you just need to cut 2. If you were going to use all 8, you'd only need to cut 1 from each colourway. So you have 2 of each set.
Okay.
And we'll do that with this one. And as I say, this is much smaller, it's not the whole width of fabric. And that's fine because you only need 2 from it, but just make sure that you're not cutting too far into the strip set. You don't want to start in the middle because you won't get all of them out, but close to the edge, and trimming off the least amount really. There's also the 45-degree, on the Creative Grids ruler, you've got 45-degree lines, you've got one in white down here as well. But the 2 black lines here, one goes across that way and one goes the other way, so you can turn the ruler around.
Yeah, you can use it
but
both
actually
ways.
How it works is, for this, if you line the one 45-degree line up against the seam line, the other 45-degree line should fall against the side of your strip, and that's another way of making sure you're square in your strips and you've not twisted it.
It's all that maths, Jane. We love a bit of maths here, don't we?
We do love a bit of maths. Now I can see when I line up the 45-degree line with the seam there that that's not straight. So I'm going to cut it with that 45 against the seam line. I'll just move that piece out the way, and then I'll just turn this one around because I know that side's right. And I'll just line my strip up with that.
This is also where things like your flatter spray
they really come into their own.
This is where they come into their own, and I've watched you prep every single piece of fabric with this because it just helps massively.
It
now
really
we
does.
do have an offer where you can buy one get one free. Please guys, we can only input one offer.
Yeah, you can
at a time.
All 3 offers at once.
No, I know,
and
we did.
And our website doesn't like it anyway.
No, it will only let you input one.
So yeah.
So you either choose your free ½ metre or your free bottle flatter.
So, yeah.
When you buy another one.
Buy one, get one free.
We like a bog off, Jane.
We do.
Jane says she definitely needs more caffeine to wake up. The maths part of my brain definitely need to put quilting on the national curriculum. Would have made understanding angles easier. Do you know what? Yeah, and I wish that I had quilted when I used to teach maths, because I was always looking for.
I've cut this strip too wide.
Okay.
So you can see now. It doesn't matter because it's in my seam allowance, but that strip's not quite. If I hadn't cut this one too wide because I wasn't concentrating, I'd have got the other strip out.
Okay. But I was always looking for practical applications for maths, because the things that the kids always used to say, well, when are we ever going to use this in real life?
Yeah.
When are we ever going to use angles? Which, unless you're going on to be an architect, an engineer, or something like that, often not. But actually, you think how many of us quilt. And the angles that are involved in it.
I mean, we all know we need our basic maths for shopping and stuff like that, but your angles and all of that really do come into their own for your patchwork, especially if you want to do more complicated shapes. So that's your 4 strip sets. You've got your plain, the large strip, the 2 white with the colour, and then your 4 that are exactly the same size, and that's how they go together to make the diamond. So I'll just get these sewn together, and I sewed them together in pairs. Now the thing is, you can't put them together edge to edge and sew them, because if you do that, it'll come out weird, because you get your seam allowance I don't know if you can just see that on that side there, but it's offset. So you have to offset it by 1/4 of an inch. So you come in with your top one 1/4 of an inch away from the point on your
Oh, is that the way
strip
round
set.
it is?
I work that way. So that's me looking at my diamond like this. That's my top one. So to the it's going onto this one. So I bring it on top, right sides together, and I just
Oh, so you
step
just have a
it
dog
in
ear.
1/4 of an inch, yeah. If you wanted to, you could mark your 1/4 of an inch with your fabric marker, if that helps you. Just be careful because it is biased, so it will drag if you're not careful. And then you'll know exactly where you've got to sit that. And if you wanted to, you could just put a mark with your fabric marker. If you didn't want to do the whole seam, just mark it there so you know where that's got to sit for your 1/4 of an inch. And it should overhang 1/4 of an inch on the other end then. You won't see it so much on this one, but when I come to show you the next pair, you'll see it then. Am I on the 1/4?
Yeah, it's the other thing to check, isn't it? I've been, because I'm so used to working with the Mini Beast, which is only ever 1/4 of an inch.
Yes. Try to let your machine feed itself through. Try not to pull it. As I say, you are working with bias edges and it's very easy to pull it without knowing that you're pulling it. So just try and let the feed dogs feed it through on its own.
Yeah, you shouldn't really have to do too much, should you?
No, the machine should just pull it through nicely for you. And again, when you're pressing, you really are pressing it. Don't iron it, because again, with the biased edges, but you can see because I've stepped that away, it sits in a straight line there. It might be a little bit out there. I might have stretched it a little bit. So for this one, you don't really notice that you've stepped that, other than the fact that you've got a nice straight line here.
Mm.
But this one, you really do need to think about it.
Important, right?
Because it's here where the seam line meets, and because we're working with light and dark fabric, you can see that there. So again, you just want to step that down 1/4 of an inch.
Oh,
And if you've got a 1/4 of an inch on your foot, that really does help. And of course, if you want to pin everything, that helps as well. So pin it in the seam line against the seam, because that makes it easier for you. I'm not going to lie to you, but I had to pick mine a few times because I hadn't matched it up quite right.
It's worth taking that time though, isn't it?
And it is worth taking the time with it.
Becky says, oh my, so late, we'll have to catch up with the beginning later. Well, you can always do that. That's the beauty of this. It's always going to be there for you.
You'll see it on YouTube and catch up with it that way. So again, just setting the stitching down, pulling it up, and just using the point of my iron and literally just pressing it, trying not to iron it. And then again, we'll go again with this one.
Nice, look at that.
And again, we just step that down, and we can see under the fabrics there. I'm more interested in my 1/4 of an inch here, where these seams meet, than I am here or down here. So just making sure that that one there is a 1/4 of an inch.
Mm-hmm.
If this is a bit out down here and up there, that can be trimmed off or goes into seam allowance. But visually, your eye's going to see if your seams don't match up with your colours. But if you've taken your time to prep your fabric and cut carefully, it should all fit together really nicely.
Yeah. Karen says, I loved geometry at school too. We were once challenged to make a card model of a perfume bottle, whilst the rest of the class made square or rectangular base models. No, not me. Oh, no. My model had a hexagonal base and tapered to a point at the top.
Oh, wow.
Why does that not surprise us? And
No.
you see, yeah, you're someone that goes on to work very much in 3D with your dresses, aren't you?
Yeah.
See, I can't always see it in 3D quite like that.
And we'll just press that away. I should have taken my time and pinned this. This is where I find that, yeah, it's out a little bit. I would unpick this now and move it down slightly, but for show purposes, we'll leave it as it is. It's just offset. Probably couldn't live with that, but we'll do the next one as well. So we'll end up with
You see, from here,
two.
I can't see that. It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah. And probably if I ironed it better, it probably wouldn't be as noticeable.
So pinning is key here.
I think pinning is, and taking your time.
Yeah.
It's a lovely process and it's quite quick. Once you've got all your pieces cut and you know where you're going with it. I think once you've made that first diamond and you can see how it comes together, it really does come together really quite quickly.
And so, yeah, press. It's pressing rather than ironing, isn't
Yeah.
it? Very much.
And just being careful not to stretch the fabric.
So where's that bit going?
So that's the top edge of there, and then we'll put these two together. Now I can see here because I've got that gap, which you wouldn't have on yours because you'll have cut it properly and not been talking while you're trying to cut.
Jane.
The bonus is with this as well, because it is on the bias, if it's not quite going together the way you want it to, you can give it a little tug. But do be careful that you don't tug it too much because you will distort it, which won't do it any good at all.
Careful not to tug too much. Right. This is looking fab. Says Karen, I do love a star. They're worth taking the time with, aren't they?
Yes.
And the effort.
And you
for
get
sure.
really lovely effects. And it really, that's terrible, that one is, but never mind, we'll just ignore it for demonstration purposes.
There's nothing like a little
What you
bit
can
of
do,
pressure,
you see, is
camera pressure.
you can pop your pin in where the 1/4 inch is and then just slide the pin along the seam underneath and that will hold it in place.
Okay.
And that's always worth just doing that if you're really not sure about it.
Valerie says it's a fascinating watch today. I love that concentric quilting. Can we have more quilting in future, please? Also, I love to see Anne Jackwood on Natasha Makes Again, as her ruler work is beautiful. It is. It's just getting them in from America. We had real supply issues because it's not us that gets them in.
Yeah.
It was really
This
tricky.
is really
She hasn't been
hard,
on for
isn't it?
ages. Yeah. But Valerie, we try and mix it up. Wednesdays is always quilting. Always Jane and
we'll
always
try
quilting.
and do a few more shows that are a bit more specifically about quilting and quilting techniques.
Yes.
You know, we are a selling show at the end of the day, but we can certainly, you know, show you the tools and hints and tips that will help you along there. So you're going to put the next, you've got your diamond, and so now you're going to make it into a triangle again. So you've got your large square that you did that goes on there, and your smaller square that sits there. So it makes it into a triangle shape.
Gorgeous.
So put the small square on first and line up the point there. Now if you've cut your squares right and you haven't stretched your diamond, you should have an overhang of 1/4 of an inch down here. And again, if you feel, you know, if you've got a bit of a wobbly edge there, which I certainly have because my seams don't meet on here, you can always trim that square, but be careful. This should now measure approximately 2 from there to there. So I'm not going to trim any of that off, because where that goes in there, that's actually in my seam allowance.
Okay.
So I can see that I need to line it up with that edge there, and it fits in the corner there.
Can you mark it?
You could mark it.
If you need to, if you wanted to draw that on so that you knew that
If you weren't sure about that, because you know that needs to be 2, because it was cut at 2 1/4, so that 1/4 inch is your seam allowance that side. If you wanted to line that up at the 2, then move it down 1/4 of an inch. You could mark a line with your fabric marker there, and you would know then that was your seam line.
Okay.
And to sew on that seam line. So we're just going to add these triangles onto here. And again, you're working with 2 biased edges, so try and let your machine feed it through. Try not to pull it in any way. And you can press that up and away from your diamond. And again, just very carefully, just running the iron over the top. I'm sort of hovering it over rather than ironing it, and then just give it a press. And you can then put the other diamond, the other triangle on. Now you're going to have a biased edge here and here. And you've still got a biased edge here, but this is a straight edge, and it's lining that triangle, the right angle side of it, into that corner there, where those 2 pieces come together. And you line that up there, and it will overhang, or it should overhang, 1/4 of an inch at this end here. That's your seam allowance.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I think people's brains do certainly funnel things differently. Claire says that her brain works 3D, and Margaret says hers does as well. She can tell without rotating the cases how to fit them in the boot of the car without loose space wasted. Yeah. When it comes down to moving house, it's it's definitely me that packs the best.
Yes. Makes a good use of the spaces.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also a great excuse for everybody else to get out of doing any packing.
Yeah,
honest,
oh well, you do it so well, Mum. You do it.
Yeah. You do that. Okay.
So that's made a triangle. I'm going to do the same with this one.
Quite a nice sound, isn't it? Just listening to the
It's
machine.
very therapeutic, isn't it? Nice clickety clack of the machine. Press that one up and away. You could finger press a lot of it as you go, but again, when you finger pressing, just be careful that you don't stretch it. I've obviously stretched this one quite a bit because you can see that's quite out at the end. And then we'll put this one on. Excuse me. Just breathed in fluff then. I felt it going in.
Oh, it's like, the joy of the fluff.
I'm just going to take a slip of my drink. And we'll press that one up and away.
It's quite methodical, this, isn't it?
It is, and it's a very pleasing way of putting it together. I think it's not difficult. It just takes a little bit of thought at the beginning, but it's certainly not hard. So you've got your diamonds all facing the same way, basically.
Oh yeah, okay.
They
cool.
all face that way. I chose to have mine. You can decide with your colours how you're going to have them. You would have your straight piece on like so, and then you put your diamond, your triangle rather, that way. So you're basically making triangles again.
Right, okay.
And they go together like that to make a square, and you would line up your seams. And it's these areas here that you need to concentrate on lining up when you come to join them together. Now, I have obviously made mine, I'm making mine in a separate way. So if you were having two colours, you choose your light to have the straight one on and your dark to have the triangle on.
Right.
But this is where I say to you, if you're going to choose to do it with the fat quarters of the greens, you want to make them all to this stage, lay them out, and then you can decide which ones you want to have with the straight piece on and which ones you want to have with the triangle. So I've gone with light and dark of the four, and I'll show you in a moment. But I know on these ones, I'm actually going to sew the straight piece on. So I'll just get those shown on, and then I can show you, because I've done the others. So with the straight piece, you want to line up the short side with your triangle, and again you're lining that 90° up there, and you will have an overhang here, just your 1/4 inch. It's only a little bit, but that's how that sits. And you should have a 1/4 inch there where the two triangles are sit across each other, that seam allowance there. So I would put the light fabric on the top, the background fabric, so you can see, and so that you can make sure that when you sew across there that you just don't go into the point of the diamond and lose the point of it. You'll probably get through quite a few bobbins making this one, because there's a lot. There's a lot of quilting. Yeah, I got through 3 bobbins. I filled 2, thinking, oh, that'll be plenty, and was quite smug, you know, when I came to the end of the first one, and I got the full bobbin ready, and then I came to the end of the second one, and I was like, no. But I did do quite a tight spiral. I mean, you could space it out wider. So I'm going to sew that one on, and I'm going to sew this one onto there. And we'll press those away. Again, you will take your time and you'll pin and you'll make sure that they're sitting nice and square. So we'll just press those up and away. And you can see how that's formed a large triangle then. So that's the one side. And as I say, there's all visual instructions in here, so you can see how it's constructed really nicely. And I do like the fact that she's put a nice big close-up picture so you can see how she's quilted it as well.
Yeah.
Which I always think's nice. Even if you don't feel that you can quilt it that way, it's nice to have that inspiration. And you could maybe try a simpler version of it. I did the spiral quilting on the one I did it all with a walking foot.
Okay.
And I used the walking foot as the space. So you can see here, this is the dark one and then the lighter one with the triangle on. And to join these together, concentrate on these points here.
Oh,
where the
sorry. There you go. Oh, nice.
Where it joins. So when you put them together, you're going to put them right sides together, but it's this area here that you want to just run your pin along the seam lines, because this is the point, these are the points that you're going to notice visually. You're going to see that more than anything else. Some of them, because I pressed away, and she does tell you the way to press them, you'll be able to nestle your seams, but it doesn't happen on all of them.
Okay.
And I'm just running the pin along the seam line there, and it just holds them together. I've got a real overhang here, and I'm just going to ignore it and sew over it. I think I must have miscut my 45 degree on that one. So you don't have any seams matching up here, so you just want to make sure that your triangles line up. And I thought that was really nice, actually, that the way that this is constructed, that you don't have to worry about any seam matching up at the top. It's just those 4 seams there that you want to be sure are lined up and matching. And it's always a good idea to have it on the table while you're sewing it, because, as I say, you've got biased edges, so by now it's quite weighty.
Yeah.
So keep it as much onto the table while you're sewing it, so it's not dragging and pulling it while you're sewing.
It's funny, you wouldn't think, would you, that just the fabric weight of itself would actually cause that.
But I think you can sort of feel it as you're sewing if it starts to pull and drag. I'm not pushing it through the machine, I'm just guiding it and letting the feed dogs do all the work. Just line that up. to move that one out of the way for a second. We'll just press these now. And again, when you're pressing, really do be careful with your movement of it. But once you've got the two triangles together, you're now working with a square, which does make it easier and it moves less. So once you've got squares made, you then make it into a rectangle. So you've got your four, you'll have your 4 squares.
Oh, yeah.
And I decided that I was going to ombre it, so I went from dark going round to light. I could have chosen to have light, dark, and this is why I say make your triangles to this part, put them out and have a look and see how you like them. But I would, if I was doing it a full quilt, I would make sure that both my rectangles were the same, so that when I turn it round to join the rectangles together, I'll get the dark in this corner and the light up there. So it'll really sort of ombre round.
Yeah, like the one behind you, because you can see how you've done that on the one behind.
Yeah, I've got the 1/8 pieces made of this one, so that this other dark one would go here against these two.
Right, yeah.
And that one going round there.
Amazing.
So I'll get these 2 halves joined and then you can see. And again, it's just taking your time and lining it's the star in the middle that you want to be sure that the pieces sit against. And I will pin, just lining up those seams, making sure they sit nice and crisply against each other. And then just lining those corners up there. You just need to take care with this one here because this is still a triangle and it's still a biased edge, so just you might have to just ease that in slightly because it may have stretched in the pressing. It's all gone very quiet.
We're all just paying attention,
Just
Jane.
watching.
Yeah, there's something quite magical about it.
It is, isn't there? It's
Now, with a bag, you know, you have that ta-da moment where you put it all through, and it's watching something, especially this size come together, is incredible.
And it's also, you know, it gets big quite quickly.
Yeah.
Once you've got those initial triangles made, it goes together really, really quickly. I think, you know, it could be a weekend quilt.
Start to finish.
Yeah. Maybe not to the quilting phase, but definitely the quilt top.
Amazing.
The longest part of the process, I think, is getting those segments cut, those strip sets.
Yeah.
And just taking your time with those and getting your angles right. And just being very careful with your pressing.
Okay.
So there you can see how that goes together, and you can see the star forming there. And then we would sew these ones together and these two. So you're making it into squares, and then you're joining the squares together to make rectangles. And then you join the 2 rectangles together with 1 long seam. And that makes your your quilt. So that will go right. Oh, no, you can see I've done some. Can you see I've done something there? I've got those the wrong way around. That diamond should be there. So that's how easy it is to get your strip sets the wrong way around. So that's created a different pattern altogether.
But we can use our imagination.
Yes. But you can see you've got an idea there of how that will look. There's your star. And of course you'll have more time and you'll take longer doing it and it'll be a lot neater. But there you go, you can see that. And that's the other four colours of the greens within the subscription set. So from that subscription set, I got 2 quilts.
That's amazing, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, it's like 6 meters of plain fabric, but that's 2 quilts and 8 fat quarters.
Wow.
So yeah, and I think you've got a lovely sort of like bright fresh version there, and then the more muted soft foresty colours. So you've got 2 different looking quilts.
Completely, haven't you? I mean, let's compare and contrast. There's that one, and then there's Jane's one.
Higgledy-piggledy one. So they're both beautiful in their own way. And as I say, you can set your triangles differently. So you could get a different effect. You know, if you went light, dark, you'd have a different effect again, rather than ombreing it.
Okay.
So yeah, there's lots of variations. And you could do 1/4 of each colour and have a really lovely ombre of your
would
greens.
Be stunning, wouldn't
it would look lovely.
So it's just however you want to do it, really.
Yeah. I mean, Barbara did hers with just 2 colours.
Yeah, and it looks stunning.
And it looks lovely, but the 4 colours looks lovely, and you could, as I say, you could do it with 1 of each and get a really lovely effect as well.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, Jane, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
And what are we doing next week? Is that TBC?
No, well, I've started it.
Oh, okay.
You had some really lovely zingy cave fabric, and I said to you, "Can I have this?" And you went, "Yeah, go on then." So I'm using that.
Jane, I can't even remember the number of times that you look at our fabric and go, "Can I have that?" And I just go, "Yeah." It just sort of melds into one.
Yeah. So it's going to be nice and bright. Nice bright one.
Awesome.
Lovely.
Perfect. Jane, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Right, everybody, grab your book, get your fabrics, join the subscription if that's something that you feel you want to do.
Get your lovely greens. Look at those beautiful greens.
Have a look as well through the greens that we've tagged in today's show. We know work with this plain subscription bundle because we've been through and we've matched them. We know that they work. So have a look. So it's really easy for you to find them as well. And then when your subscription arrives, you know that you've got fabric that's going to work with it perfectly. Because, you know, like Karen, maybe greens aren't something that you're used to working with. Yeah. In which case, why not, you know, have a go.
Yeah.
Stretch yourself.
If you got the long quarter set, you could look at the Diamond Star cushion, even.
Yes.
Our pattern there.
Absolutely.
Because that would make, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. Do you want to just flash that about very quickly for those that don't remember?
It's done in a very similar way with the strip sets, that you do a different strip set each time. So it's very similar in construction to the quilt that we've just done.
Yeah, but if a quilt like that feels too big for you, too huge for you, then just grab this one if you want to have a go. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. Right, everybody, we will be back. Well, I am on... Where am I tomorrow, Jane? I am at Create and Craft tomorrow. I've got 2 shows there, 7 and 12.
Ooh, that's an early start then.
Yeah, yeah, I believe. So that's all good. And I will see you lot then. And then we'll be back on Monday. Can I remember what I'm doing Monday?
Is it JCM Monday?
It's either Monday or Tuesday. For sure. For sure. And I know that I have agreed to something.
It'll be
Can I remember for the life of me? No. But whatever it is, I'm sure it'll be fabulous.
It's wonderful, whatever. Beautiful things with beautiful fabric.
Yay!
It'll be lovely.
All right then. Oh, hang on.
John's in Monday.
It is John on Monday, yeah, but what am I doing on Tuesday? Oh, that's it. How could I forget? We've got brand new Odile.
Oh, exciting.
But in kits.
Oh, lovely.
Velvet Odile in kits.
Oh,
I'd
nice.
completely forgotten.
How lovely. How could you forget
I
Odile?
don't know.
Beautiful colours. I follow Odile on Facebook and she does some amazing things.
She's just fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. Rightio, Jane. Thank you ever so much.
You're very welcome.
We will see you all on Monday. Take care. Lots of love. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.